Hey, sweet girl. Hello. How you doing, Matilda? How you doing? Hey? Hello. Hello, welcome back. My name is Chrissy and I am in a different spot today. It's still on our little plot of land here, but I've just wandered down the back to a nice little quiet spot in the forest, and it's no wonder the children love playing down here. It kind of feels magical, and I know I would have loved to play here as a child. So much scope for the imagination, as Anne would say. There's the children love to build cubby houses and forts down here, and when the weather's good, you know, when it's not too hot or too muddy. It's not even really the cold that keeps them. It's the mud. It gets very muddy. But anyway, so yes, I am down in so my thought today is to just do a little update and let you know of some future plans that we have. We're sort of coming to the end of winter slowly. It's really quite warm today. I'm not sure exactly. It feels like about 75 or so, you know, in the mid-20s Celsius, and it's very pleasant. It's very pleasant. And I just saw some green buds of the leaves starting to come back on some of the deciduous trees. It has been a long winter for our family. Texas, I know, doesn't have a long winter, but it has been a bit rough with a lot of sickness, and the last couple of weeks I've had my own little health blip to overcome, which is why I have not been filming much. But anyway, I think I'm coming to the other side of that, and it's just been a tough February. I'm sure there's others that have had the same thing. I have had a lot of friends and people comment that it is one of the toughest winters as far as sickness that they remember. It certainly is for us, and I don't know, you know, this is a new country to us and we're not used to really having winter, so I wasn't sure if that was it. But no, apparently a lot of other people have had a lot of sickness. So anyway, spring is coming, and with it a new season, new hope, and I'm excited about that. So I'm behind a bit with my plans for the garden because of sickness. I should have already had my potatoes in. I have the potatoes. We bought a big 50-pound bag. I don't even know if I'm going to have room for them all. But should have had them in the ground already. I'm behind in my seed starting, so that's okay. Sometimes things happen that are outside of our control, and we're just going to run with it, and we're going to get started again as quickly as we can. I am going to try and streamline things a little in the garden this year because we have a milk cow now, and we want to do the meat chickens again that we did. So that's part of what we will be doing in the coming weeks, hopefully, is getting meat chickens again. we really need to get a few more layers, laying hens. So just to start growing them out to replace the flock. So we may get some more chicks, laying chicks as well. And we probably need to harvest some of the ducks. We started out with 12, we lost one, so we have 11 Muscovy ducks, and we'll keep all of the ducks, but some of the drakes we will hopefully put in the freezer. But that's going to be a new experience. We have not harvested ducks before. We have a friend nearby who has, so I'm hoping we can rally her help to get, just having not done it before. So we'll be doing that. And what else? The ducks, the chickens. We will have to look at Matilda, that's our milk cow. We need to get her preg tested, because when we bought her, we know that we were told she had been exposed to a bull, but we're not sure if it took. So I haven't seen any signs of her being in calf, but I think we just need to get her tested to double check, and then we'll have to cross that bridge, whatever that looks like. That may look like having to find a bull, not sure. So we'll have to deal with that. Okay, so the micro bakery, a few people have been asking for an update on that. It is still going, and I'm really enjoying it actually. It was challenging in February. It was challenging because of sickness in the house. All of my children at some point or other went down with something for several days, and it sort of took ages, like it took weeks to go through the family. And we had a couple of different sicknesses, not just one. So yeah, that was challenging to sort of keep going, and I was afraid to sort of not do it every week, because I didn't want to lose the momentum we had. But in the end, I had to take, I took an extra week at Christmas, and then I had to take another week in February off, it was winter break and a lot of people were away. So I think it was okay, but we just needed to stop and rest and try and recover and get our feet back on the ground. So, but I baked again yesterday, and it's good. We're continuing to get some repeat customers and new customers. So I will just keep on working away at that, and doing that just one day a week. So that will continue through this year. The other thing we have going on just in our family, obviously for those of you who don't know, we homeschool. We have 7 children. I have 6 school-age children right now, and our eldest is already finished. But this year we have our second eldest graduating, and then I'll be down to 5. So it's crazy. But that's a big thing this year, and so it's taking quite a bit of time to sort of get my head around what that looks like from a homeschool perspective, what I need to do, and so we've been working on that, and that's exciting. And so the micro bakery is going really well. School is going well. We have missed quite a bit of school in February just due to sickness. So, but I have learned over the years, I just keep rolling with it, and we'll see. It all works, swings and roundabouts. It all works out in the end. Sometimes we get a lot more done and we really get in a rhythm and get through a lot, and then other times you just have to step back and know that it's all going to be okay. It's all going to pan out in the end. Which, just on a completely random side note, I have my husband and I, of our 7 children, have 4 at least 4 that are dyslexic. 3 more. Oh, well, actually, no. 1, 2, 3. 3 that are definitely, and one we're not. He's just little, so we'll see. But it used to stress me out a lot. I used to really worry about being responsible for teaching them to read, and I will say, I just thought, I'll mention this. I don't know if there's other homeschool mums out there. One of our boys didn't read until he was 10, and then just the penny dropped. Like, it was just a hard slog up until then. All the practices and the readings and the phonics programs, all the different things that we did, just nothing seemed to sort of click. And then he turned 10, and then I don't know, just one day, it's just like the penny dropped and he just started reading. And that has now just happened with my 12-year-old, who's probably the most severe as far as dyslexia goes. And I knew not to worry with him. I knew both my brothers, my father, and my husband all have dyslexia. And I saw my brothers growing up and my mum teaching them and the struggles she had. And, you know, she was actually told one of my brothers would never read, and he would probably he'd have trouble holding down a job and all these things because he was so severely, his dyslexia really held him back from learning to read. And my mum, all power to her, just said, no, not on my watch, that's not happening. And she just sat with him and continued to faithfully read with him. And now, I mean, he is an extremely good reader. He's actually a preacher, and so he studies almost every day. And so I guess that experience and seeing how that panned out, and then seeing my first one that really struggled and how he just got it one day. I wasn't really worried about my 12-year-old, but he had taken longer. And just the other day, he went and plopped down on the couch with a book, and I saw him. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And he came up to me afterwards and he said, hey, Mum, I just read that whole book by myself. And it was a picture book, but it had quite a lot of words in it. And I said, oh, nice. Good job, mate. And not going to make a big deal about this. And then that night he came up to me and he said, okay, Mum, I think I want you to find me some chapter books I can read. Not too hard, he said, but, you know, just not too easy either. So I went through and found a stack of books for him. I said, you just pick some out of this. And I had to go out the next day. And when I came home, he said, I chose a book, Mum, and I've already read 2 chapters. And this is from a child who, like a week ago, you would sit down with him and reading 1 page was like a hard slog and took a lot of deep breathing and prayer to get through. And now, like that is the same thing happened. So if you are a mum who is teaching your kids and they have learning disabilities, do not stress it. It will happen. I just read aloud to them a lot, and they do a lot of audiobooks as well. And in the end, it always works. And then they get it. I said, that's so awesome. You've just unlocked the key. Now run through that door and enjoy the kingdom of reading and all the stories you can find. So that's pretty exciting. So anyway, that's got nothing to do with homesteading or anything, but I just thought I'd share that with you if there's any mums out there who have that issue. Okay, so garden. Now, last year, I might see if I can find some footage of I did a video probably in January or February, I can't remember, of my vision of the garden. And then I did another one when it was sort of full season. It might have been June, July, and everything was growing. And it was so exciting, honestly, because I just didn't know. It was our first season of growing anything in America. And I had no idea of what the climate was going to do, what to expect from the soil. I just did not know. and we ended up having a really good year. I had some fails. I mean, every year I have some fails. I think if you're a gardener, you're going to have some fails. But we also had a lot of beautiful food coming in out of the garden, and just pretty flowers and things, which I love. So this year, I feel like I'm kind of excited to go, okay, so now I have a little bit more knowledge of what works and what doesn't work. I know that we have drainage issues and really clay soil, so raising beds a bit definitely helps. But I'm excited to just go, okay, let's grow the things that we know are going to work really well. I'm not going to try a lot of crazy new things, because I feel like we just need to maybe streamline some of the things that worked last year. We really loved growing potatoes, definitely wanted to grow more of those. And the area at the back, which I will show this in a future video, but the area at the back that we had the chickens in last winter and this winter, I think is now ready to do rows, garden rows in. So that's probably where I will put tomatoes. Now, that is one of the things that was kind of a fail last year. I did not have great tomatoes. I don't know, but talking to other locals, a lot of people around here struggled with their tomatoes last year. It was very wet. It was really wet. And a lot of, fungusy type things, and a lot of rot on the tomatoes. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really hoping to grow more tomatoes and that we'll have a better year with tomatoes. But I'm also hoping to grow corn in the row. I didn't really have room for the corn. I grew a tiny little bit last season, but I want to grow more. The kids love growing corn, so I want to get a whole row going of corn, and we'll do more beans, and we'll do potatoes. We'll do more okra. I did way too much okra, but I kind of did that on purpose because it was a cover crop in that back section. But I will do okra again, just not quite as much. I have been given some beautiful flower seeds, some hollyhocks, and a few others. So I'm hoping to grow a lot more flowers. I love flowers, and I just think they're so enticing, and it entices the children out into the garden, and things that they can snap off and eat. So I do want to have some cherry tomatoes scattered in the backyard. So there's sort of the backyard, and then there's where the chickens were out the back. And I want to have things in the backyard that they can just run around and pick and eat while they're playing. Things like, they love doing that with beans, peas, but I don't know. I'll have to get them in good and early, because they they don't like the heat here. And I will say that I don't know how much I'm going to be impeded by the fact that I haven't got a really early start. And I know that sorry, birds, beautiful birds. I know that I had said to myself I wanted to start earlier this year than I did last year. And now, because of all this sickness, that has definitely not happened. So I don't know. That might be a little bit of a handicap, but we'll just have to go with it. I can't really do anything about that. So I am excited. I'm excited for the garden. I'm excited for spring. I said to my husband, I said, I really like the weather here. If I could just skip August, late July, August, because it gets so hot. And it's no hotter actually than where we came from in Australia. In fact, in Australia, I think we'd have long stretches that are hotter, but the humidity is like kind of like consistently higher here. Whereas we would get humidity in Queensland just as a storm was rolling in, but then the humidity would break and it'd be lovely. It'd still be hot, but I can handle the heat if it's not too humid. And you always knew that the humidity was going to pass when the storm passed, whereas here it just stays humid. So anyway, definitely looking forward to that, to the just the change and the new to the garden and the new shoots coming on all the trees and the greenery. And I was sitting having a coffee this morning looking out the front and thinking, oh, this is going to look so different in just a month, even probably just a month or two. It'll look so different, which is still, it still just blesses my heart, because I come from a country, or a part of the country, where that does not happen. Like, it looks the same all the time. We don't get these seasonal changes, so it is exciting. I love watching it. It's just very beautiful, and it sort of is encouraging when you've had a long season of something like sickness to go, okay, I'm ready for the change. Okay, so the only other thing I was going to let you know is a plan I have coming up on my YouTube channel here on 9 Little Aussies is to do a 100-day stint. And I said to my husband, I don't know if I'm biting off more than I can chew, but I just have this on my heart, and so I'm just going to give it a go. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that I fail and I don't get 100 in a row. But I'll see what I can do. And my idea is 100 days of homesteading. So therefore, it will include things like the garden. It will also include the kitchen and the baking, bakery updates. I am doing a lot more freshly milled flour, so there'll be freshly milled flour recipes, as well as other recipes, just whatever I'm doing in the kitchen. So it might be preserving, it might be baking, it might be, who knows, whatever I'm doing, just as a matter of course in our life, in living here on this little piece of land in East Texas. So gardening, whatever we're doing with Matilda, I'll continue to report on that and document that. And yeah, and the meat chickens, the whole works. So starting probably in March, I'm going to do that. I probably will take one day a week off. I'll take Sundays just as a down day. And yes, so that is my plan. I feel like, I don't know how much anyone will relate to this, but I feel like a lot of my life and my hopes and dreams and thoughts for my family and what we're doing here are often shaped by stories. I love to read. That's part of just who I am. And one of the books that really impacted me, a few years ago, we read Little Britches. As a family, we read it while we were traveling around Queensland. So I don't know if I've mentioned this, I probably have, a few years ago, actually during the COVID pandemic, which was crazy to be doing it at that time, but we packed up all of our home in Queensland, put all of our treasured things in a shipping container, and bought a caravan and traveled around Queensland. My husband was unable to work. He was on convalescence due to cancer treatment. And so we thought, no, we're just going to take some time and spend it with the kids and create some memories. And so we traveled around Queensland. We couldn't go outside of Queensland because all the borders closed down because of the pandemic. But anyway, we at least were able to travel within Queensland. Why am I telling you this story? What was I telling you? That's right, Little Britches. So we read Little Britches while we were traveling around Queensland. So it's funny how when you do that, like when there's all these connections that happen. Anyway, I really feel like this year, as I've just been thinking about the year and thinking, oh, how am I going to fit this in? And part of me feels bad about it. Like I think, oh, life is so busy, and I would just really like to be able to sit and focus 100% of my attention on schooling my kids, you know, just sit around and read good books and do a bit of math. And but I was reminded of what was her name, the mother on Little Britches. Oh, it'll come back to me. I'm sure people will know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I was like, you know, life isn't always about sitting around and having the ideal situation. Sometimes you have to work hard and hustle and you can do it as a family, and it still creates memories. It still creates that family bond, because I just don't have that option. I need to do the bakery as well as wanting to do it. I need to do it. And the YouTube channel is something that is being placed on my heart as something I need to do as well. If I'm wanting to walk obediently to the Lord. And so I think that all these things that I feel like I've got to do that. And I was thinking about her and how, you know, all these little side hustles she had going on. And anyway, that's where my mind went when I was like, oh, am I biting off more than I can chew? Do I need to step back? And I'm like, no. There are seasons where you've just got to push on and push through, and you've got to hustle, and you've got to she had a bakery business. I think that's the other thing that I related to, or that I was remembering as I was thinking and making plans for the coming months. She did curtains and was mending curtains or something at some point, and she had a bakery business, and it was hard work. It was hard on her, but the children helped, and she pushed through and did what she needed to do to help feed her family, help pay the bills. Anyway, stories, they shape our thinking sometimes, and I find them inspiring, and I found her very, very inspiring. Like, what a woman of grit. So, which is definitely something I want to be. But anyway, so there you go. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but if you haven't read Little Britches, go do yourself a favor. It's an awesome, awesome book. We read not just that one, we read like the series. And we didn't do all of them, but we did the first 3, I think. And they were so good. So good. All right, friends. Well, that is my little update video for you. And hopefully we will be back again very soon with more updates on what's going on, and the next of March, spring, as we march on forward into 2025. I will see you again soon. Sunshine and raindrops, may they be good to you. Bye.